This Good Morning Northwest Morning Sprint is brought to you by Bill's Heating and Air Conditioning.
Just about 6:53, time to get you ready for your Thursday with the Morning Sprint.
Sydney Charles giving us the latest details in that deadly shooting in El Paso, Texas.
And Mark is here to tell us about a new system heading our way.
But let's get right to Destiny Richards. She's live downtown with details on a special city council meeting focused on a new approach to homelessness.
That's right. Even as Camp Hope shrinks, there's still a housing and homelessness crisis in our community. That's according to the Washington Department of Transportation, who says 108 people are now reported to be living at Camp Hope as of this week. And as a part of tackling this crisis, the Spokane City Council and other city leaders are expected to meet today at 11 here at City Hall, addressing a new approach to tackling the homelessness and housing crisis in our community. You can see the full agenda in this story on our website, KXLY.com.
All right, good morning, everyone. First Alert Weather, and that First Alert Weather app would be great to have now because you'll need it next week. 19 with a clear sky into Coeur d'Alene. We're sitting at 24 degrees here in Spokane. Temperatures around the region into the mid-20s, really looking pretty good. We look at our forecast for the day over the next 12 hours. We're going to have sunshine today. By 10 o'clock, we should be at freezing and then be into the low 40s throughout much of the afternoon. Once that sun sets, though, it cools off quickly.
Some breaking news on the Ohio train derailment this morning. The head of the EPA is traveling to eastern Ohio today amid growing fears about contamination. 2 weeks ago, the Norfolk Southern train carrying a number of chemicals, including an estimated 1 million pounds of vinyl chloride, that's a chemical used to make plastic, derailed, causing a fire that burned for days. Some people are reporting sore throats, burning eyes, vomiting, and other symptoms, while local officials report thousands of fish have died in local rivers and streams. Norfolk Southern is facing a class action lawsuit which claims the train derailment released chemical weapons into the community.
The Major Crimes Unit is investigating a suspicious death. About 4 o'clock yesterday, Spokane police officers found a woman dead in Hilliard near the corner of North Regal and East Diamond. Because of the way she looked, officers believed a crime could have been committed. The medical examiner will identify that woman and her cause of death.
And 1 person was killed and 3 others were injured in a shooting Wednesday evening at a mall in El Paso, Texas. This morning, 2 men are in custody in connection to that shooting, and authorities are still trying to determine a motive. Investigators say shots rang out near the food court in the Cielo Vista Mall yesterday evening. An off-duty officer who was working security at the time got to the scene within minutes and arrested a person. Details about the victims in critical condition this morning and the suspects in custody is coming up next on Good Morning America.
In a few minutes, Michigan State University will provide an update on that mass shooting that killed 3 students and injured 5 others after a gunman opened fire at 2 different locations on the university's main campus earlier this week. This comes as new details are emerging about the man accused of committing this crime. According to a source familiar with the investigation, Anthony McCrae had a 2-page note in his backpack referencing other targets. Officials say the note does not say why they are targets or list grievances, and police are still looking into what connection McCrae may have had to the locations named in that letter. So far, they haven't been able to make a connection between McCrae and MSU.
The 19-year-old man who killed 10 black people in a Buffalo supermarket is back in court today to face more charges, including federal hate crimes. He was sentenced yesterday to life in prison without parole. His life sentence is the maximum possible in state court. Now, Gendron faces 27 federal charges for last year's shooting.
We want to celebrate achievements during Black History Month, but also recognize challenges. According to local data, more than 14% of African Americans in Spokane County don't have health insurance. That's higher than all other racial groups. Curtis Robinson, who's now serving a 2nd term as president of the NAACP in Spokane, says this disparity is not surprising to him. To read more about what Robinson said about health disparities in Spokane's Black community, you can head to our website at KXLY.com.
A measure to begin having the conversation of moving the Idaho-Oregon border west to right around Bend was approved in the Idaho State House and now heads to the Senate for a vote. According to GreaterIdaho.org, the proposal would incorporate all or part of 17 Oregon counties into Idaho. It's important to note that even if it passed the Idaho Senate, lawmakers in Oregon would also have to approve their own measure to begin the process. As of now, it still has not made it out of committee.
Well, a bill to outlaw gender-affirming health care for minors is one step closer to becoming law in Idaho. If approved, it would make it a felony for physicians to provide hormone blockers, hormone treatment, or gender-affirming surgeries to transgender youth. The bill passed the House on a near-party line with one Republican voting against it. That bill now heads to the Senate for a vote. All right, we'll get a final check of your weather with Mark Peterson right after this.